Uh, Good afternoon, students of BA Part 2nd, Government College, Jaksu. Welcome back. Once again, I am here with Arun Kolatkar's photograph on your screens because this is the third and the last poem that is part of our syllabus. It is a very short poem. The earlier two poems that I have done, The Bus and An Old Woman, I hope you've gone through the poems and the notes that I had shared with you. Both the poems are talking about something very profound, but in a language which is extremely simple, or you can say it's the conversational language that has been used, or the everyday language that has been used to express the ideas. And Old Woman, of course, no doubt, had a larger impact on us because it was something that was quite heart-rending, and it kind of changed our view as to the religious places and how they stand in the estimate of a tourist vis-a-vis the people who live there and make a living out of these tourist destinations. The bus, on the other hand, talked about the travel to this place and the experience of a co-traveler, or maybe it was the voice of Arun Kolatkar himself, who told us how the night journey commences and the way it ends. And it was again a comment upon, the experience, a common experience in the period of the 1970s, and the condition of the buses and how people used to travel and how their faith made them travel even through the cold night to reach the pilgrimage site. Now, continuing with the same theme, the third poem that you have in your syllabus is Chaitanya. Now, Chaitanya is reference to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I think most of us have heard of him, and we know about his mystical experiences. And this, as you can see on your screens, it's an extremely small poem. This is it. The earlier poems, I remember I shared three, four, or a few screens before I could get to the end of the poem. But here, what is visible on your screens is the total length of the poem. And this small poem contains a very important message which is conveyed through one single vivid image, that is of Chaitanya spitting out the seeds of the grapes that he has eaten. And Chaitanya did not, it's like a comment that Chaitanya did not like the stone images of gods which lay neglected all around the religious places. And this is with specific reference to Jejuri, where these all these poems have been based on the place in Maharashtra. And this particular poem shows that Chaitanya liked the stones of Jejuri because they are as sweet as grapes. Before I go on to further explain the poem, or give you the introduction as well as the meanings, let me just quickly read the poem. Sweet as grapes are the stone of Jejuri, said Chaitanya. He popped a stone in his mouth and spat out gods. So, total number of lines you can see six, and divided into two paragraphs of triplets, that is three lines each. And another typical feature is the, you can say, the signature of Arun Kolatkar, that he does not begin any of the line with capital letters. And once again, just like the previous poems, this poem too has been written in free verse, and there is no rhyme scheme as such. A few similes are there to, highlight what Kolatkar is trying to say. So the poem itself, Sweet as Grapes, it begins with a simile. And Chaitanya, when he went to Jejuri, he liked these stones because when he put them in his mouth, they tasted just like grapes. And surprisingly, he transformed these stones into gods. Now, this is a popular myth. Whether it actually happened or not, we do not know. But in the scriptures, this has been mentioned that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he on one of his travels had gone to Jejuri, he spotted certain stones and he popped them into his mouth. Like he thought that they looked like grapes, maybe. And when he tasted those stones, he found them to be very sweet and he compares them to the taste of a grape. And when he spat them out, Kolatkar says that out from his mouth, instead of those stones, came out gods. That is, image of gods came out of his mouth when he spat out those stones. So he transformed, you can say that these stones which are lying about, he had the power to transform them into gods. And the image of him popping a stone in his mouth and spitting out God seems to be, in first reading, it seems to be quite offensive. And it applies as if, Chaitanya had the power in him to convert stones into gods. And eating and spitting out both suggest a supernatural and rather irreverent attitude to this otherwise miraculous transfiguration. Please understand this, because on one hand, there are two things which are compared and contrasted here. The first is the image, the idea of a god, and how this is a very typical, in Hindu religion, you have seen that not only Hindu religion, but in religions generally, you have a stone image, and you make those images in according to your imagination or according to your mythology, and you have a number of gods and you pray to them on a daily basis. And here, on one hand, it is this idea that is being explored, and on the other hand, it is quite irreverent the way it has been explained, because Chaitanya is putting something into his mouth. Now, there is a concept of, in India especially, you have the concept of jhoot moot. I mean, नथिंग, कुछ भी जूठा होता है वो अपन भगवान को नहीं चढ़ाते हैं. सो वी आर वेरी particular about cleanliness, about even when we cook food in our kitchens, the first chapati or the first morsel or the first item that has been that has been cooked in the kitchen is always put before the images of the god, and it is supposed to be prasad, right? And after that, the rest of the house or rest of the people or rest of the family, they partake of that meal. So here it is something or rather offensive, because he is spitting out, he is putting something into his mouth and then he is spitting out those stones. And but it gets a very religious touch when the poet says that it seemed that particular stone that is spitted out of his mouth turns out to be God himself, or you can say turns out to be an image of God himself. So the implication is that on one hand it is, please understand this, on one hand it is that Chaitanya had that kind of a power. He was that, you can say, a god man, and he had that power to convert stones into images of God. But on the other hand, the second idea is that Kolatkar is kind of ridiculing this concept of making gods out of stones. That is the implication, that belief in gods is absurd. It's almost as if Kolatkar is trying to, make a joke out of this story or this myth that is quite popular as far as Chaitanya's travails are concerned. And this too, you can see, is a typical Jejuri poem, because the theme is religion. The earlier two poems also, there was reference to religion, that was reference to a religious place. Here too it is reference to religion, but this is a little different from the other two poems that we have done. And the poem kind of makes us aware of a few different things that are quite obvious. Through these 6 lines he's made it quite obvious. First is the commercialization of pilgrim centers, and Kolatkar seems to say that we tend to create a statue out of stone, and we just put it in a religious place, and then people start flocking that place, they start visiting that place, they start putting money there. And but Kolatkar on the other hand feels that these are just stones, they are not real god, we cannot create gods out of stones. That is what he's trying to say. Then Kolatkar observes then Kolatkar also observes all this when he pays a visit to the holy place, and the poet finds that every other stone is a god or his cousin. Okay, this has been his observation. And also that the Hindus are idol worshippers who worship different kinds of gods. Like we have a god for every day. For example, we have Ganesh for Wednesdays, we have Surya for Sundays, and we have Shiv for Mondays. So it's like, for every different concept, for every different day, for every different issue, you have a separate god who is to be addressed to when you have anything, any problem or any concern regarding that particular area. Then Chaitanya, as we all know, undertook many religious journeys from Bengal to almost all the shrines of the countries. And later on, we also know that he had been called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was a devotee of Lord Krishna. And apparently he had gone to Jejuri also, and there he declared that the stones of this holy place were as sweet as grapes. So this is a story, this is the story behind this particular poem, and this is the story that has been referred to by Kolatkar. And the holy scriptures, they say that suddenly Chaitanya, I don't know what came over him, but it is mentioned in the scriptures that he quickly put a stone in his mouth, and when he spat it out, the stone had become a holy god, or you can say that that stone had got converted into an object of worship. And Kolatkar is trying to highlight this, and we can say that this is an example of faith. And but this is like juxtaposition of two very opposing things in these 6 lines, because on one hand you're talking about gods that are supposed to be sacred, that are supposed to be revered, and on the other hand it is like the person is spitting out something from his mouth, and that has become god. So as far as Kolatkar is concerned, he is not very sure, or you can say he is not very convinced about this idea of God being produced from Chaitanya's mouth, or the stone being converted into the image of God when Chaitanya put it into his mouth. And Kolatkar, we can say, is being ironical, he is being quite irreverent, and also his lack of faith as far as religious beliefs are concerned is very amply reflected through these 6 lines. As far as the poem's idea is concerned, it can also be, you can almost compare this to the Paras stone, the magical stone which is supposed to convert everything into gold. So the poet wants to say that a mere touch of a holy man can transform a stone into a god. Similarly, the company of great people can elevate us in life. So it's kind of a reference to the imaginary Paras stone, which can convert even the basest of metals into gold. So maybe this is the another this is the third interpretation that you can have, that maybe this is what Kolatkar is trying to say, that if you are, you know there's a popular phrase also, you're known by the company you keep, something like that. So maybe Kolatkar is also trying to say that if you keep company of good people, then there is always a possibility of refinement. The similar idea is conveyed through the concept of that stone which Chaitanya touched, and automatically that got converted into an image of God. So either way, these are you can say a multi-layered interpretation that you can draw from this poem. Firstly, that Chaitanya was a godly person, so a mere touch of his converted a simple stone into a god. Second meaning is that Jejuri itself is a reverent place, is a religious, is a sacred place, because even the stones out there tasted as sweet as grapes. Because this can be the second meaning. And the third interpretation can be that Kolatkar is, trying to tell us that maybe he's trying to pass a negative comment that religious beliefs are not to be trusted, because how can a stone become God? And the fourth interpretation can be that if we keep company of good people, then automatically there is a chance of us becoming better persons. So these are the 3 or 4 multi layers that can be looked into, that can be read into these lines, that can be read into this poem. Then coming on to the structure of the poem, it has been written in simple English. Very easy words again have been used. I don't think I need to tell you any word meaning. All of them are very obvious, and it has been written in free verse that I have already told you. There is no rhyme schemes. You can see the last words: grapes, Jejuri, Chaitanya, stone, mouth, gods. None of these words are rhyming. And as seen in the bus, here too the lines do not begin with a capital letter. That is again a typical trademark of Kolatkar. He doesn't begin his lines with any capital, so that gives a kind of a feeling of continuation, as if something is being said in one single flow. There is nothing different at each paragraph, or there is nothing, within the single paragraph. There is, a flow of ideas, a continuation of the things that he wants to share with us. Then the poem begins with a simile and it ends on almost an irreverent act signifying something deeper than the obvious, which I have already explained, the different layers, the different meanings. Then in conclusion, I would just say that the poem is essentially, it has been based on Indian mythology, and the special reference is to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a worshipper of Lord Krishna. So, dear students, a very short poem. I mean, it's almost like, very, very, very simple, and unexpectedly you can say that it has just deserves one single lecture and it is done with. So I hope all the meanings that I have read into the poem, all the words that have come up as maybe either a comparison or a simile, that is amply clear, and the inner idea what Kolatkar is trying to say, that too is pretty simple. So 6 lines but almost 4 meanings can be read into this poem. Once again, I shall be sharing the important questions with you very soon. Please go through them and take care till the next author that I decide upon. Very soon we'll be finishing with this. I think most probably we'll be doing Nassim Ezekiel. Right? So till then, till the next lecture, please stay safe, take care, study well. See you again soon. Bye bye.